And in around 2015, what I realized was owning a property management firm or owning real estate, there's not enough, what I'll call like there's not enough revenue to that's generated, not enough profit margin that's generated that you can hire full-time local people, because people in the U.S., cost of living is X and they need Y to live. And so what we found was that what the business could afford, we were really scraping the bottom of the barrel. People without, high school diplomas or GEDs, or very very small little college, if not, people who had a lot of challenges outside of the business, like so they had their own personal challenges that they would bring into your business, and they saw it as a job, not as a career. And so we were unable to really afford good people. So what we found was these remote team members in Philippines, Mexico, Costa Rica, Central America, Africa, East Asia, wherever it was, that the cost of living there is so low that I can pay somebody, $6 to $10 an hour. Back then it was $6 an hour. Today it's around $8 to $10 an hour. You could pay somebody $10 an hour, but instead of paying somebody $10 an hour here to live in the States, you're paying somebody $10 an hour and they live in Mexico or the Philippines. So they actually get a higher rate than what they could locally.
Welcome to CRE Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals who work with investors, buyers, and sellers of commercial real estate coast to coast. Whether you're an investor, broker, lender, property manager, attorney, or accountant, we're here to learn from the experts.
Welcome to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CRE Radio. Thanks for joining us. My name is J. Darren Gross. This is the podcast focused on commercial real estate investment and risk management strategies. Weekly, we have conversations with commercial real estate investors and professionals who provide their experience and insight to help you grow your real estate portfolio. Today's interview is sponsored by Building Insurance and Risk. When you invest in real estate, it pays to work with a real estate investor protection specialist to protect yourself and your investment from catastrophic loss. The experts at Building Insurance and Risk focus on real estate investor protection. They provide you with multiple insurance coverage offers and a side-by-side coverage comparison. To learn more, go to buildinginsurancerisk.com. Today, my guest is Pete Neubig. Pete is the co-founder and CEO of VPM Solutions. And in just a minute, we're going to speak with Pete Neubig about the benefits of hiring a remote team. But first, a quick reminder, if you like our show, CRE Radio, there are a couple things you can do to help us out. You can like, share, and subscribe. And as always, we encourage you to leave a comment. We'd love to hear from our listeners. Also, if you want to see how handsome our guests are, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube at Commercial Real Estate Pro Network. And while you're there, please subscribe. With that, I want to welcome my guest, Pete Neubig. Welcome to CRE Radio.
Thank you so much for having me, Darren. Appreciate being here.
Well, I'm delighted to have you here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation. But before we get started, if you could take just a minute and share with the listeners a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I started investing in real estate in the early 2000s. I'm from New York City, but I live in Houston, Texas since 1995. So I've been here for quite some time. I was an employee for the first 20 years of my career outside of college. And by buying investment properties, I was buying mainly single family homes, some apartment complexes. That was a springboard that led me to build a single family property management firm in 2012. I started in 11, 12. I ended up quitting my full-time IT job and I started my single family property management business. I sold that and exited in October of 19, took a job with the company that purchased us as an East Region Vice President, realized pretty quickly that I was no longer employable. I had now become a business owner, started VPM Solutions with three others. I'm a co-founder and I'm the CEO. We started that in 2020 and went live with our product. VPM is a marketplace that connects the real estate industry with remote team members in 120 different countries. It's a direct hire platform model. And we started that one in 2020, went live with the platform in 21, and here we are in 2025, and we're rolling and growing.
Awesome. We've got lots of experience and a lot of real estate experience. And now you've got your virtual assistant platform there, VPM Solutions. And I'm interested in knowing kind of a little bit more about your background with the real estate and how that maybe formed how VPM works with real estate investors or real estate businesses. Can you speak to kind of your experience and how that shaped what you do?
Yeah, so my journey was all interconnected, right? So I started buying real estate, like many of your listeners out there. My guess is the story goes like this. I really like my job, but I don't love my job, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I retire. So I'm going to go buy some real estate, and I'll build wealth over next 20, 30, 40 years. This way, when I retire, I have cash flow. That's kind of the motivator. Read the Rich Dad Poor Dad book and join a local real estate investment group. This is, early 2000s to 2001. Internet's not where it is today. There's no cool, podcasts like yours for people to gain information at that time. So it was local. And so I started buying properties, which of course led me to building the property management firm. And in around 2015, what I realized was owning a property management firm or owning real estate, there's not enough, what I'll call like there's not enough revenue to that's generated, not enough profit margin that's generated that you can hire full-time local people, because people in the U.S., cost of living's X and they need Y to live. And so what we found was that what the business could afford, we were really scraping the bottom of the barrel. People without, high school diplomas or GEDs, or very very small little college, if not people who had a lot of challenges outside of the business, like so they had their own personal challenges that they would bring into your business, and they saw it as a job, not as a career. And so we were unable to really afford good people. So what we found was these remote team members in Philippines, Mexico, Costa Rica, Central America, Africa, East Asia, wherever it was, that the cost of living there is so low that I can pay somebody, $6 to $10 an hour. Back then it was $6 an hour. Today it's around $8 to $10 an hour. You could pay somebody $10 an hour, but instead of paying somebody $10 an hour here to live in the States, you're paying somebody $10 an hour and they live in Mexico or the Philippines. So they actually get a higher rate than what they could locally. So you're actually improving their lifestyle and their family. We've had families buy properties, by homes, cars. They actually have savings for the first time. So when you hire somebody abroad, you're getting the benefit of high skilled, low cost labor, and they're getting the benefit of working from home and making a above average salary. So they live a much better life. So all of a sudden, I was able to unlock my biggest challenges. When you're in real estate, you're, other than the property itself, right? The biggest cost is your team, your people. So I was able to lower that cost dramatically and be profitable for the first time, and also have people get more money than they ever have made. So it dovetailed very nicely.
So when you first started working with virtual assistants, what kind of work were they doing for you?
Yeah, so that's a great question because early on, when you hired a virtual assistant, it was more like, hey, I'm going to give you a checklist, like a tick list, and you're just going to do the stuff on the tick list. And the virtual assistant needed like, literally step-by-step guide to do the checklist. And that's kind of where we started. And then I quickly realized that, even though everybody else was doing it this way, because virtual assistants, they're not new. They've been around since like 99. I think Tim Ferriss made them famous with the 4 Hour Work Week. right? And so, but you got to remember the internet qualify, all just the technology to do more was kind of limited back then. But what we found in, early on is like these folks we hired, they're college grads and they are smart and they want to do a great job and they want to be managed and they want to have a career. They could do more than a checklist. So we started off that way first. We quickly moved into they can own the whole process. So we're in real estate here as you guys are listening to this, right? So think about if you owned, we manage over 900 homes. So think about if you managed 900 homes or 900 apartments, whatever. There is move-ins and move-outs, leases and lease renewals and maintenance and turns and lions and tigers and bears, oh my, right? There's all that stuff that goes on. And so what we were able to do because they were a much lower cost, I could hire a team member to do lease renewals, to do move in and move outs, to do collections and evictions, to do maintenance, to do turn coordination, to do utilities, utility transfers. We even then we moved them into supervisory roles. I actually had my field techs who are US based reporting to somebody in Mexico. And I actually, got to the point where there was management. And so today I have clients that hire C-suiters from Central America and Southeast Asia. So it's really amazing what, the life cycle that has happened with remote team.
Hey, you mentioned the quality of, or the caliber of the talent. Um, I'm curious to know how deep that goes. You mentioned college grads in that. I guess I always kind of assumed it was more of a clerical or and I don't want to say a limited, but I just like, in my mind I was thinking more of a limited scope. Clerical, maybe some phone solicitations, kind of thing. Can you describe
It,
kind of the full breadth of opportunity with the remote? I guess the talent. I guess I'm kind of
yeah,
curious what how much can they do? Because what you're describing goes well beyond what I would have thought.
the talent pool really is amazing these days. Like I have clients, they get on our site and they're finding CPAs. So they're CFOs. I've had one person hire their CPO through the platform. And so that's kind of chief people officer, chief financial officer. So the days of, hey, I just need them to do a call center and listen and answer this with this script or do a checklist, those days are over. You're seeing people now that, they're college educated, they have, CPAs or they have, other, even doctors with PhDs. It really is crazy what kind of talent's out there. Now we're seeing salespeople. So I'm having property management companies hire BDMs, business development managers, through the platform. So it's just not just back office. Do this Excel spreadsheet anymore. It's front facing. It's supervising. It's management, and it's high level, high skilled labor now.
So I've hired a virtual assistant a couple of times for various sales projects I was working on, and it's basically lead generation is what I used it for. I was totally impressed with just the talent, and then also the uh, what the load that they were able to carry that freed me up to be fresh when I did have an opportunity, as opposed to feeling like I was just ground down to like a do you want to buy or not kind of presentation. Um, my I guess my question to you is the different task that you're, or not the different task, is more of the your U.S. domestic customer and them understanding what they need done and getting that conveyed to the VA. Do you help sort out what that is, or is this all up to your customer to define what it is that they need done?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me go to first. Your experience is pretty typical, right? So as a business owner, right, what is the definition of a business? It's a, it's an enterprise or an entity, a profitable enterprise that runs and grows without you, right? So the more people you can hire, and the more they take the hats off of your head and they put them on their head, and typically what happens is they start off doing about 80% as good a job as you, and then within 6 months they're doing 120% better job than you, right? Because they that's all they're doing. They do it much better than you. If you hire the right personality, you hire the right disc profile, all that good stuff. And so that allows you to level up. So if you're looking to level up in your investment business and you are taking calls or you're doing analysis or you're, doing paperwork or whatever, this is a perfect time to hire somebody, so that they can do that for you so you can level up. Now, so that's the first part. That's the first part. Now how you bring them into the business. Okay. So this is the biggest challenge that most people have, right? The first challenge is I'm not sure what they can do. I'm not sure what the job role is. So the first challenge is you have to write a job role that you understand what their job role is. If the job role says answer calls, all other duties assigned by management, you don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So when you hire them, they have no idea what they're supposed to be doing. So understanding that job role, and being as detailed as possible, allows you to know what they're supposed to do. The second piece of that job role is you should know what that personality profile is. I'm a huge fan of DISC. If you do Myers-Briggs or anything like that, whatever, just give it the color, give it the DIS or C. But if you don't know that personality profile and you hire the wrong personality, it's not going to work out. And then the last piece of the job role is what is your key performance indicator? What are the metrics? Everybody wants a scorecard, right? We all go to school, we get a scorecard. What is the scorecard? How do you know? And more importantly, how do they know they are, they're doing a good job, right? Because people want to do a good job, especially if you hire the right person. Now, if you have that, now we can help you with that. If you're not really sure, we have a team. We have a white glove service team and a gold glove service team, and we have a DIY service. So the DIY, it's truly that. It's DIY. It's free. It's DIY. Use the platform. You can post your job. You can interview people. You can review their disc, and then you can hire and you pay them through the platform. It's all free. When you pay them, we get a percentage of the remote team member. Our white gloves are do it with you service. That is free as well. We will help you with your job posting. We'll help you through the process, but you do the work. And then our gold glove service is our do it for you service. It's 1,500 bucks. If anybody mentions this podcast, I will take 30% off or 500 bucks off, and I'll do it for $1,000. That's not our moneymaker. Our moneymaker is, actually doing the payment processing. So we will actually do everything for you. We have kind of we have an internal scorecard we use. We got some additional features that we built in to help make sure we get the right people for your organization. And then, so that's the first challenge is somebody's just not understanding the job role, the KPIs, the personality profile. The next challenge is they don't know how to train them, right? So one of the questions that we get all the time is, I want somebody with experience. And basically what that means is I don't want to train them because I don't know how, or I'm not exactly sure what they should do. So I just want somebody with experience so they can come in and kind of run, but how many people are you going to get in the Philippines or Costa Rica or El Salvador with a bunch of experience in real estate, in property management, in whatever it is that we do in the US? It's kind of not much. So what we believe in is hire for attitude, hire based on a job role and on disc profile. And then you can have them take we have free VPM Academy where you can take courses, or the remote team can take courses, they can test out and they can get a certification. So we say, hey, have them take some property management, some real estate courses on our platform to show you that they have the ability to learn, to show that they're interested in that subject matter. All right. And so then we hire based on attitude, based on personality profile. And then you do have to train them. Even if look, I was in property management for 10 years or 12 years, whatever it was. I was, I have all of the designations after my name. If you hire me to manage your properties, I would still need to be trained on your tech stack. I still need to be trained on your policies. I still need to be trained on your processes. You still need training. So we kind of guide people on, some training principles, but I cannot train your team. There's just something that you're going to have to do. And it's like taking one step backwards to take two steps forward, right? You're going to have to spend a little bit of time to train your team. If you use the way we do it, you only have to do it one time. You train the team. And then the last mistake is people, you can either delegate, you can either abdicate, or you can micromanage, right? And so we've seen a lot of people micromanage. So I hire somebody, I'm paying them $8 an hour, and I'm really worried they're going to steal time. So I want to review, I want them to write down everything they do. I want to snapshot their computer. I'm going to go over that file. And it's like, look, no one, I don't care whether you're in the US or Cambodia, no one wants to be micromanaged. Okay. And it's $8 an hour. If they steal an hour or two, whatever, right? Just, pay them an hourly rate. And just make sure that they're hitting their KPIs, they're accessible, and that they are in there. What we do is we just have policies on um, when I email you, you email me back in so many hours. When I Slack you, you Slack me back in so many minutes. When you're in a meeting, it's camera on, dressed appropriately in your home, not in Starbucks or whatever. So just create some communication policies. So manage by that, manage by availability, manage by KPIs, and then manage by delegation and actually having a weekly meeting with your team member, whether it's you or your supervisor, whoever they report to. They should have a weekly meeting, and it shouldn't just be like, hey, what do you want to talk about? It should have an agenda. I'm a big fan of Gino Wickman's book Traction. If you're not familiar, I highly recommend it. I ran my property management business on it, and I also run VPM on it. And our one-on-one meetings follow their structure. Our weekly offsite, quarterly meetings all follow the structure. And so if you have structured meetings, you'll be able to manage your team without micromanaging or abdicating. And abdicating is this: I'm so busy. I just need somebody. VAs or virtual assistants are so cheap. I'm going to just get somebody, anybody, don't care. And then I'm just going to throw up and vomit over them saying, here's all the stuff I need you to do. And then I'm never going to talk to you again. And I'm going to praise myself that I'm not a micromanager. No, you're not a manager at all. You're an abdicator. So those are some of the challenges I see as people hire. And you can replace virtual assistant with literally team member. And just even if somebody's in the office, we see a lot of these mistakes happening, right? So those are kind of the mishaps that we've seen. We can help with some of that, but some of it you have to roll up your sleeves and just do. When you're hiring somebody, it's just a little bit of stress inside the business, but it will reduce 80% of the stress that you have, after just a couple of months of just spending time and training with them. Last book I'll recommend is The 1 Minute Manager. Forgetting the guy's name. It's an easy book to read, and it talks about, just redirection and managing people correctly. I know it's a lot. Sorry, man.
No, no, it's all good stuff. I'm curious, what level of commitment do you find necessary? Meaning, when I say commitment, somebody's tiptoeing into this and they go, okay, I know I need this. These are some tasks that I could benefit from having done. Uh, but maybe it's not a full, 40-hour week, kind of a thing. What level of commitment is kind of like an initial, amount of time do you find that's needed in order to find somebody? And then the follow-up to that would be, at what point do you find people realize, oh my God, there's more that these people can do, and, provide more work for that person to do?
Yeah, so as far as the commitment thing, there are lots of people on our platform that, will handle part-time work. So, 10, 20 hours a week, they may have 3 or 4 jobs on our platform working for 3 or 4 different realtors, investors, whatever. And then they just, they're getting 10 hours here, 5 hours here, 20 hours here, things of that nature. Most property management firms hire full time because they have so much work. Most realtors and investors hire part time. What I tell people is like, look, if you can hire somebody full time, they're going to stay with you longer. Even if you're not full time work, you can always find things for them to do, audits, whatever it is. So what I would do is I would hire somebody maybe in the Philippines, which is a little bit cheaper hourly rate than it is in Central America. But if you can handle, five, six, $7 an hour at 40 hours a week, now you know you have somebody full time. And what happens over time is as you're doing things, you're like, oh, they can do that. Oh, they can do that. Oh, they can do that. So you can hire a good executive admin, and you'll never have to get in your email again, right? For the right one, and they can do so many other things. And what we do find is, I had so many stories of somebody's like, yeah, I was going to hire one remote team member. I interviewed four, and I hired three of them, just because I'm like, holy crap, I didn't realize the type of talent that's out there. I was one of them when I started Empire, my property management. I was gonna have one virtual assistant. I hired four that I interviewed. I hired all four of them, and I ended up with 23 of them. They ran my whole business. All of the property management was done we had them in Mexico at the time because we're in Houston, made sense for us. We had them in Mexico, and all the property management was done there. And then I had about 10 people in the States, a couple of field techs. I think I had my marketing, my CFO guy, and I had asset managers. So escalations went to the asset managers. They signed the leases. They signed because they were all licensed in the state of Texas. So, but the grunt, the day-to-day operations was mainly done by my team in Mexico.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know if it's a mental barrier for me. I mean, COVID basically made a lot of people virtual. I basically work virtual for my insurance job. 3, 4 days a week. I go in the office a couple days a week. But the whole virtual thing is uh, conceptually it shouldn't be a barrier for anybody to understand. Obviously, there's if something needs to be done hands-on on site or something like that, that's not necessarily a virtual opportunity. But all of the communication, all of the emails, the telephone calls, the spreadsheets, presentations, all that. There's no real need to have somebody physically in your proximity. I mean, now with technology the way it is, and it's just fascinating to me to think of all the opportunities and how to, you know, I guess one of the, and this is really what it comes down to for me is how, if you were going to describe an ideal situation, we've talked about like an entry point in that, but is this, is somebody that's really looking to grow a better fit than somebody's just trying to get a few things done? Because it just seems like the opportunities for growth, if somebody has the vision, they're going to be a lot more successful in this than if somebody's just trying to maintain something. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I think so. But look, there's a lot of people out there that are still, in the same job for 40 years. Not everybody wants to grow. So, what I do when I interview folks is I go over my vision, right? If my vision is, when I was at Empire, our vision was to manage 15,000 doors throughout the United States. And if you're not somebody who likes a lot of change, that's not the right company for you. So that's why I like to ask questions about the core values and the vision, and I like to talk about that, right? Um, Even today when I hire for VPM, it's like this is where we've been, this is where we're going, this is our core values. These are, I'm looking for people with grit, like, we're no nonsense, we're straight shooters, blah blah blah, and I I literally try to scare them so to not want to take the job because it might not be a good culture fit. So I'm a big fan of making sure that they fit in your culture. And if your culture is one of slow growth, we don't change a lot. We just need somebody to do the same thing all day and every day. And then you hire a high D, that guy is going to leave you in 60 days. You want to hire a high S, or somebody who's like, yeah, this is what I need, right? Part-time people, I need part-time. If you hire somebody part-time and they need full-time, they're looking for full-time. As soon as they get a full-time job, they're leaving you. So you just, you have to ask. You have to just ask questions and make sure that you're finding the right fit for your organization.
So you mentioned the word culture. How do you uh, implement and maintain culture remotely with your VAs?
It's not easy. I will be the first one to say, but I will say this too. Like when I ran Empire, I was an office guy, but before 2020, I let my people like work like 3, 4 days. I was like one of these early adopters on it, and so as soon as you let people out of the office, it's hard to bring culture in. The way I do it is we have a now this is easier to do in a smaller firm. So I only have about 14 people that work with me. We just had our company meeting this morning before I hopped on with you, and everybody's on that company meeting. And we also have a roundup or a daily huddle every day, having lots of communication with people and going over core values. So on our daily huddles, we're meeting each day. On our company meetings, I literally go over core values and I call people out on they should know our core values. They need to respond to it. They need to let me know about other people who have embodied our core values. But keeping that connection through daily huddles and those monthly meetings, and then of course having your team has those weekly meetings as well with the structure. Our daily huddle has a structure as well. So don't just have a daily huddle. Say, okay, what do y'all want to talk about? The daily huddle has a structure. We're looking for taps, 2x4s and Mack trucks is what we look for in our daily huddles, right? What's a tap on a shoulder? Hey, I'm a problem tapping on a shoulder. I'm a 2x4, right? I hit you over the cross of the head, like now it's a big problem. Or the Mack truck, which is now I have to call my insurance agent typically with a Mack truck problem. So that's how we do it. Um, it's not ideal. It's just not as fun as having a pizza party in the office and everybody's sitting around drinking beer and eating pizza on a Friday afternoon. But you just build that camaraderie through that. What we do as well is there's a big conference that is in the property management industry, and I bring in all customer facing people to that conference as well. I'm not spending any money on brick and mortar office, so I take some of that money and I bring people in from all over the world into wherever that is. Like this year, it's in Orlando, so I'm going to bring my people from Colombia, Dominican, and my Filipinos. They get kind of shafted. It's just too far to come out for a few days. So now what I'll do, it's been 4 years, so I'll go out there to the Philippines next year and I'll spend a week or two. And so that's what we try to do. I try to, where I'm saving money on the real estate side of things, i.e., my office space, I can go ahead and spend it on travel and get people together.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea, and again, the culture I think is something that I think comes up a lot. I think even domestic businesses that have kind of gone to a remote um, or some sort of a hybrid are struggling with the same kind of thing. Uh, Understanding how to maintain that culture and communication is definitely a key piece to that, and the more
It is.
frequent.
And I think, during your hiring process, like, you know, are you hiring people that you want in the foxhole with you? Are you able to determine based on some questions that you have if they have the right core values and they have the right, kind of, are they in alignment with you? Because at the end of the day, right, we're all small businesses that we're listening to this, right? We're small businesses. I doubt anybody listening to this has got 5,000 employees. We probably have like five, right? And so who do you want in the foxhole with you? What are the ways you can find that out? And if you find the people that are connected to you in that way, typically the culture works. Typically you don't have to like you don't have to worry about having, pizza parties or having meetings or anything like that.
No, well said. Hey, Pete, if we could, I'd like to shift gears here for a second. As I mentioned to you earlier, by day I'm an insurance broker. And as such, I work with my clients to assess risk and determine what to do with the risk. And there's three strategies we typically consider. We first look to see if there's a way we can avoid the risk. When that's not an option, we look to see if there's a way we can minimize the risk. And if we cannot avoid nor minimize, we look to see if we can transfer the risk. And that's what an insurance policy is. It's a risk transfer vehicle. And as such, I like to ask my guests if they can look at their own situation. Could be clients, could be political winds, could be, economic challenges, whatever it is you identify and consider to be the biggest risk. And again, for clarification, while I'm an insurance broker, I'm not necessarily looking for an insurance-related answer. And so if you're willing, I'd like to ask you, Pete Neubig, what is the biggest risk?
So the biggest risk for VPM, well, I would say for us, the biggest risk is at the end of the day, we're a payment processor. Okay. Even though we have all these whistles and bells where you have this marketplace and you have these searches and you have this training, you have this video, if I can't pay people, I'm out of business. And so my biggest risk is that we are connected to Stripe. And if Stripe decides to cancel us or go belly up, that I cannot process payroll. So to me, that's my biggest risk. So I do what I can to make sure that my relationship with Stripe is good. And, the challenge with having a payment processor, it's not normal to have two of them. And so we don't have two payment processors. So that's my biggest risk.
Yeah. No, it's that you mentioned Tim Ferriss. If you only have one, you have none. If you have, the whole backup kind of thing there. So I get it. That is kind of a concern there. Hey, Pete, where can the listeners go if they'd like to learn more and connect with you?
Yeah, you can go to VPM, so like virtual property management, vpmsolutions.com, or you can email me, pete@vpmsolutions.com.
Pete Neubig, I can't say thanks enough for taking the time to talk today. I've learned a lot and enjoyed talking with you, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Thanks for having me on, Darren. Appreciate it.
All right. For our listeners, if you like this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Remember, the more you know, the more you grow. That's all we've got this week. Until next time, thanks for listening to Commercial Real Estate Pro Network's CREPN Radio.
You're listening to CREPN Radio for influential commercial real estate professionals. For more information on this or any of our guests, like us on Facebook, CREPN Radio.